what's about to happen or what's happened or what this person said or done, will it matter in 3 minutes?
How safe is my family gonna feel if dad's a fucking wreck?
Depression, anxiety, stress is a silent killer. We don't know who we are. Are we the man of the house? Are we the bitch? 10 times out of 10, when you react from emotion, you're fucked.
Ever wonder how one conversation can change your perspective? You're listening to On the Mic with Josie, real conversations with real people, and every episode leaves you with something new. Perfect. All right.
All right, what's up?
Chefe, here we are.
Yes, we are.
Man. So
just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here today and discuss this very important topic. It's very important to me, I'm sure to you,
mm-hmm.
and many men as well as women around the world, because this, I'm going to go ahead and call it a disease, impacts women through their significant other, husband, boyfriend, friend, cousin, uncle, dad, brother, you name it. It impacts everybody.
Everybody.
And it sees no age, it sees no race, it sees nothing. And it's just like any other disease, it has no favorites. It'll hit you if you're poor, it'll hit you if you're rich, it'll hit you any time of the day. So, again, thank you. I do want to say hello to everybody. So, hello, everybody.
Yeah. Hello. What up, everybody listening? And speaking of the audience, right? Like, I think one of the things that I want to say is, for anybody listening to this conversation, one thing that I want to make very clear: we're not here to give answers. We're not here to resolve anything, right? This is just a conversation that, to Chefe, has been something really important. That to me is really important, and so this is just a real conversation between two men. But again, we're not professionals in any of this, and we're not here to give answers. We're really here just to open dialogue.
Yes.
Right? Just to open dialogue on something that we believe is not talked about anywhere nearly enough, especially amongst men. Right?
Especially, yeah.
But before we get into that, Chefe, right, for anybody that's listening that doesn't know who Chefe is, right, the way that I want to ask this for you is, what is the you usually share to everybody about, and what are some of the things that usually get left out?
It's a great question.
Sharing.
The me that I share with everybody that knows me, Rick, aka Chefe, is I'm very giving. I'm very open. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And even though I may have RAF, resting asshole face, I'm not. I think I'm a very kind-hearted soul. I love to talk to people. I love to put myself out there. And that's had a positive and negative impact on my life. So we'll get into that also. Just also to piggyback on what you said, I wish I did have the solution to this topic, but we don't. And our conversation that we're going to get into is based on experience and opinions.
Okay, and tell us, what is that conversation?
So
that people can now know, right, what we're talking about.
We're talking about men's mental health. So, it is the leader in suicide rates.
Amongst men?
Amongst men, 80% of the suicide rate. This is men. It's related to mental health. And the statistic that got me was men over 65 are the highest rate.
Men over 65.
And again, the way I see that is, I was just having a conversation with Misa, one of the barbers out there, and he was asking me why I thought it was a disease or generational. I told him it's generational, and it makes sense when you think about it. Is the older men were raised more old school, more suck it up, get over it, be a man, men don't cry.
So let me ask you real quick, just so I can better understand, right? Because at the end of the day, this conversation is for us, right? This conversation is for me and you. Our hope is that somebody listening gets some value out of this, right? But at the end of the day, you and I both know that this is for us, right? And so that I can get a more clear picture, I definitely get the macho man, how people were raised, don't be tough, cried out. But how were you raised, right? What was your experience of that? Was that your upbringing?
I had a completely different upbringing. Mine had a combination of how to deal with things. So when I was around my father, who was he was a gangbanger,
Okay.
in and out of prison, and my dad stood 6'5", almost 300 pounds, pure muscle. Was feared by, I won't say everyone, but a good amount of people in the neighborhood, because he would walk around drunk or high and threaten people and follow through with the threats, and he was just that guy. So you can imagine growing up with someone like that. He would throw me in the front yard with my cousins, the boxing gloves, and tell my cousins to beat the crap out of me, and I couldn't cry. Suck it up, be a man. It's going to make you tough. That's every other weekend with my dad growing up. Majority of the time I was raised by my grandmother, because my mom had me when she was 14. My dad was 14. So they were kids themselves. So I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather, my mom's parents. My Grandma B put the G in grandma. She eventually became a single grandmother, single mom, paid off 2 houses on her own. She did it. She hustled. I'd like to say that's where I got my work ethic from. It's my grandma. But it was a house full of women. I had 2 uncles, but they were out of the house already. So being raised in a house full of women, that's where I learned to wear my heart on my sleeve. The estrogen was high in that house. So I thought, seeing my aunts be emotional and crying about things and expressing themselves, I thought that was a way to do things. So I embraced my emotions and would talk openly about why I felt the way I felt, and then when I would go back to my dad's house, I was able to cry baby. But then when I would go back to my grandma's house, it was normal. So there was confusion. Led to being bullied, led to a lot of dark areas in my life that, eventually I will get into that too. I learned how to cope with. There's no cure for trauma. You can cope with it. You can't cure it. So I've learned how to do that.
So in the early stages, right? Like when you were younger, right? Thank you for sharing that, right? Like about yourself, like that, and the way you were being raised and being vulnerable with that. What were some of your ways of coping at the beginning, right? Like, because I can definitely, at least what I'm hearing is there was a kind of a confused upbringing, right? On one end, you had the suck it up, don't cry, you tough it out. And then on the other end, you had the no, like you let your emotions out, like you speak about what's there, you let it go, right? And just going back and forth with that, right? Like what were some of your ways of coping with that at a younger age?
So I'm gonna go to, let's start in 6th grade, and I'm gonna jump. Okay. I'm going to jump years, but 6th grade was my first fight in school. And I was so scared out of my mind that I won that fight. Out of pure fear and adrenaline. Once that happened, I created a coping mechanism of being violent. And jumped to 7th and 8th grade. I thought I was tough in middle school, but I got bullied. I was chubby, shorter, and then come summer of 8th grade and going into 9th grade, growth spurt, losing weight, spending more time with my cousins, learning how to fight. Went into 9th grade and just semi-bullied, if that makes sense, but then started to fight back towards the end of the 9th grade year. Got into a couple more fights, got suspended, would get in trouble in school, started to behave in a way that my grandmother started to take notice and was kind of hard to control. Jump into high school, I made other friends. Never got into a gang, but I think I had more issues being affiliated and related to gang members. So other gang members would be like, "Oh, you're so and so's cousin, or you're so and so's son, or well, we can't get to them, but we can get to you." It just a lot of bad things happened. I started to ditch school, started to, act like I thought it were the cool kids, and party and drink, and didn't luckily never develop a drug problem, but just drink and fight and hang out with. They were good friends. I won't say they were good friends. It just wasn't the right influence. But in high school, we didn't know what the right influence was. You're just worried more about your reputation. So, 17, I got shot in a drive-by shooting. Had a near-death experience, or a deadly experience, because I flatlined on the operating table. Still after that, got stabbed, got jumped, just a whole bunch of stuff. So my mechanism that I created, a coping mechanism, was getting in trouble, so that I can appear to be tough, but inside
You're scared.
I'm scared.
I heard that in the 6th grade story that you gave.
Yeah.
Right. The initial.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like, just being scared the whole time. When I thought I was tough, when I got shot, I just kept thinking, I don't want to die. That's not somebody who's not scared. You just create a mechanism that is false. It's a facade of being tough, or not being afraid, or not, and then also dealing with abusive parents who are abusive verbally, physically, mentally, just dealing with that. I had to learn how to do a lot of things now. I'll be 52 next Saturday, and I'm still learning to find closure to my past through therapists, through workbooks that I read on my own, watching videos of some of the people I watch, and I sent you some of their screenshots of their Instagrams, like Jay Shetty, Mal Robbins, Ed Milet, Dr. Joe Dispenza, just different people, and affirmations by Jung Pueblo, and different things that actually you introduced me to, and another barber, Mike, introduced me to, Mike Morales. So I would have never been introduced to those things without talking to you guys about different things, because you probably thought like, Chefe, he's tough. He's
got it figured out.
He's got it figured out, man. When, there's times where I'm the most lost soul on the planet, I feel. I had to learn to do a lot of things. I had to learn to, I had to seek therapy, which men don't do. It's not considered tough. I suppressed a lot of my emotional feelings when I started to hang out with the party crowd, and they're not gonna want to see a guy that's like what they probably would have labeled as damaged, weak. There's no room for weakness, especially on the streets, and doing the things that we were doing. There's no room for weakness. That's the common denominator, is we suppress and we carry it with us, whether we're young, middle-aged, older, wiser / older.
Yeah.
That's leading to it being a disease, is what I call it. It just gets worse. Like I was explaining to Misa, let's put it this way: you cut yourself, it gets infected, but you seek no medical aid. What happens? It just gets worse and worse and worse. It's the same thing with mental health. You tuck it away, it doesn't go away. You could be driving and thinking, you could be having, it's happened to me. You're driving, you think you're having the best day ever, everything's cool, and then you see something, and boom, called triggers. They're everywhere. And
for you, what is one of those triggers?
I'd have to say, if this makes like a messy area. So it's a trigger. Like I see your reaction to my answer, so I'll break it down for you. So growing up, the time I did live with my mom, it was bad. I mean, the house was horrible. So I would stay home from school just to clean the house. 12 years old, 11 years old, I'd have to clean the house. And if it wasn't clean enough, I'd get my ass kicked. So it became where clutter was just, I don't want it around me. And, it has to be clean, if I would chew with my mouth open, I get smacked in the face. If I would, eat chips and it was loud crunching, I get smacked in the face. If it was quiet and I was making a noise or something, I get smacked. So now as older, it's created an illness, I call it, because my wife could be eating something and she doesn't know she's like chewing loud or crunching loud, but I'm sitting there and I'm like holding myself from
saying something
or being upset because my past. It's a trigger. And if I see a mess somewhere and like one of my kids leave a mess or my youngest daughter leaves a mess and I get irritated and angry about it, it's not because she did it on purpose, but it's a trigger to me.
Oh man.
It's tough. And one of the things I've learned with my therapist is identifying triggers. So when you start to early identification on a trigger, someone's starting to say something, someone's starting to do something, something's about to happen, you identify the trigger and you prepare yourself. And a exercise I love to use is the rule of 3. So what's about to happen or what's happened or what this person said or done, will it matter in 3 minutes? Would it matter in 3 hours? Will it matter in 3 days? Probably not. So it's not that important.
Wow.
So the rule of 3.
The rule of 3.
Yeah. It's very simple when you think about it.
I'm clipping that one for sure. Fuck, that one was good.
Yeah, I use it a lot. And, it just...
What? Real quick, right? Only because there's something that you said that I don't want to skip over because it's just something that came up for me, right? I hear what you said about I heard what you said about the chewing loud and the, wanting to not see a cluttered area, things like that, right? One of the things that came up for me as you were saying that is, and I'm not asking you for an answer or anything. This is me just having this come up for me, right? Now, I feel like nowadays, a lot of the kids that are growing up are extremely entitled, right?
Extremely.
Right. Extremely entitled, right? And so I could totally hear my dad listening to this right now. And I'm pretty sure my dad wouldn't be like, well, no, you got to smack the fuck out of them till they bleed. No, right? That's not my dad, right? But I could absolutely hear my dad say but see, now he lives clean, right? Now he lives and his home is clean, right? I see the way you come into work, right? Every time I see you, you're fucking just you got your crease, you got your hair, right?
Thanks,
you're always sharp, right?
Thank you.
I've always noticed that in you, that any room you come into, whether it's a room with one person in it or a room with 100 people in it, you're always fresh, you're always clean, you always look good, right? Now I can kind of understand it a little bit, right? But I could absolutely hear my dad saying but see, look at the way he turned out, right? It's because of the discipline. It's because of his parents reminding him hey, you don't leave a mess. Hey, be polite, right? Don't fucking chew with your mouth open, right? Don't make noise. Be polite to your environment. If it wasn't for those things, then he may not have that politeness. He may not have that clean house. He may not have that neat fit that he's always wearing, right? And so I'm wondering, right? And again, I'm not asking you this for an answer, right? Just as a way of bringing up conversation. I wonder where the balance is on this, right? Where you can not be that parent, right? But still get at least a similar result where your kids don't grow up entitled and feeling like they could just walk in and leave the sweater on the fucking floor and whoop-de-doo, right? Chew with their mouth open and not give a fuck who's I don't care. What are they going to tell me, right? It's my mouth. it's my space, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is me, right? Like, if I want to fucking chew with my mouth,
Yeah.
I could fucking do that, right? Like, this is my space. Like, there's just an entitlement. So I'm wondering, like, where is the balance here?
I don't have the right answer because, I mean, there's who knows how many people will see this podcast. I hope a lot.
Yeah.
But I have my answer.
What's your answer?
So my answer is, it's funny because I have a 17-year-old daughter. She's a senior in high school. Beautiful, beautiful baby girl. Okay. But she's got bad habits. She's throws clothes on the floor, or doesn't clean the cat's litter box daily like we ask. Doesn't clean after herself in the kitchen, and those things bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. Where I want to lose my shit, and sometimes I do.
Yeah.
And I instantly regret it.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah, but I can't tell her I regret it because that's an advantage she'll have over me.
Mm-hmm. That's that weakness.
She'll probably hear it now, and but I'm learning. Still at 51 years old, about to be 52, I'm learning. I mean, my 4 beautiful children are 3 girls, 30, 26, and 17, and my son's 22. He'll be 23 tomorrow. I'm still learning, and the one thing, the common denominator with each and every one of them is lead by example, and hopefully it catches on. Be clean. Be presentable. Thank you for the kind words you spoke about my appearance and everything. That's something that I took from my past experience, and I'll share it with you. The reason why I find it important to match, be clean, look sharp, be presentable, is because growing up, I had to take clothes out of the hamper and wear them to school. I had to put on socks that were almost crispy because they were so dirty. I mean, it was some embarrassing days at school where I was a smelly kid in class because I didn't have clean clothes. And I couldn't tell my grandma, who lived just next door, because my mom said, "You tell your grandma, I'm going to kick your ass."
Yeah.
So now, being able to be clean and presentable, that's my goal every time I get ready for the day. And it is my goal to walk into a room and have that command presence and own the room and let people know, oh, hey, I'm here, right? In a mellow way, not the cocky way of, being loud and, so that's where that comes from. And I see it in my older kids, they want to match. Or it's funny, there's an ongoing joke, like, you don't wear Nike socks with Adidas shoes, and it's an ongoing joke. Dad's going to get mad, if you wear, a Nike shirt and you're wearing Vans, or Dad's going to get mad, so it's a joke. But to me, I also see it as...
Do you say something when they wear the Nike?
I will tell them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going out with you. So.
But you don't get mad, right?
No,
That's just
no,
like you said, the ongoing joke. Hey, I think it's more like, is it more like, hey, like, you're about to get shit. Like, Dad's gonna talk shit. Like, he's gonna say some shit, right? Like, if it's not going to brunch, if you go out wearing clothes like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference in my 17-year-old. She'll go somewhere and I don't know. It's with the kids nowadays in pajama pants and Crocs. That you're wearing that in public, or you're wearing that to school. Like, I would never go to high school in pajama pants and Crocs. No way. And I see it.
And so you tell them.
I'll let her know, like, but my wife said, just let her be. Let her be. You're not going to win.
Yeah, see, and that's where I'm at, right? Like, fortunately, with Jasmine, we're on the same page with that stuff, right? If one day it's me telling them, like, really, you're going to fucking go to school like that, right? And Jasmine saying, like, just fucking whatever. And then, like, a few days later, it's Jasmine, like, you're going to fucking go to school. And I'm just like, Mama, you know what I mean? Like,
switch roles.
We got to switch. We're switching roles, right? But, I guess that's why this conversation is, I'm so curious, right? Not that it's so important to me, right? But I am absolutely curious about this conversation because I really do believe that there is this huge sense of entitlement right now with kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard both sides, right? I've heard both sides of like you raise your kids tough so that they don't do these things. And then it's like, well, you don't raise your kids tough because then they grow up with trauma, right? And so it's like, where is that balance, right? And so for you, that balance was?
For me, I don't know. I still looking for that balance, because they are entitled. These kids are entitled. The one thing that does help me have patience with my 17-year-old daughter. I mean, my son went through the same we all went through the traumatic experience of the pandemic, COVID. My son was robbed of like grad night and prom, and luckily he had a graduation, but I think it really impacted my daughter, my youngest daughter, because it was like she did jail time. Not being able to socialize with her friends, not being able to go out and do things, not being able to go to school. They're locked up in your room. We all got COVID. I got it really, really bad. So she didn't have any side effects from it, so she was lucky, fortunate. My wife lost her taste buds, and but it robbed her of a good 2 years of her childhood, her prime, and middle school. So I think that damaged a lot of our youth mentally, and they carried it on. And now I think that's where that sense of entitlement comes from. We're owed because we were gypped, that damaged a lot of the youth with depression, anxiety. But I think as they got older, and it's my opinion, but a lot of the youth have learned to weaponize that. I have anxiety. I have depression. I can't do this because it gives me anxiety. I can't do this because it makes me sad, or I can't. But I've had this discussion with my wife. It's not right to be able to choose when you suffer from those things.
Yeah.
And I may be this may be taken out of context, and I do apologize for those of you who take it out of context, but you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose. Just like someone with an illness, a disease like cancer, they can't pick and choose when they have cancer. Oh, I can't do that because I have cancer. Oh, I can't do that because I have HIV, or I can't do that because I have, whatever it is. It's anxiety and depression are diseases too. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the younger generation has learned to weaponize it. They have. And it's all over social media. They do things, and then when they're about to suffer the repercussions, that's their go-to. I did it because I suffer from this, or so the balance, I don't know if we'll ever find a balance, and the reason I say that is because, just like you said right now, my wife and I do the same thing. We switch roles. So I think there won't ever be a balance because it's ever evolving. Today could be a good day with our youngest daughter, and tomorrow's like, oh, what do we do now? Like she's arguing with her boyfriend. It's I don't know. It's something happened at school. She's mad about something, or she's mad at you, or she's mad at me, or she's mad at grandma, or she's mad. So it's ever evolving. We gotta learn how to play and juggle. Now we're juggling emotions, and we don't want that to turn. Even that's why I said it affects women too. But like with my son, he shared with me that he gets anxiety at times, and I never knew that. He's 22. And he just told me this a few months ago, and it killed me. It absolutely killed me that it took him from high school to 22 years old to not be afraid to tell me that he deals with anxiety. He said suffers. I don't like to use that word because
he manages anxiety.
Yeah, he's learning to cope with anxiety, and it kills me. Because, any of my kids that are dealing with that. My youngest daughter deals with it. My other daughters are dealing with different things, and just like everybody, you break up with a boyfriend, or you have a fight with your mom, or you have a fight with dad, or you have a fight with sister or brother or friend, or it sets off this Molotov of emotions that just, man, it blows everything to shit, and you don't know, what do I reach and grab for first?
Not sure if you have the answer to this, right? But something I'm curious about as I'm listening to you speak. What is, and again, I also understand that we're sharing something that has something to do with somebody that's not in this room, right? So at any point that there's an answer that you feel that's not for me to answer, like totally, that's perfectly fine, right? But like, are you aware of what anxiety looks like for your son? Right? Like, what is his experience of that anxiety? Not what triggers him, right? But like when he is triggered, when he is feeling anxious, have you been able to discover what that experience is like for him?
For him, it's more nervousness. He gets nervous. He's it doesn't shut down or anything. He gets uncomfortable.
Okay, so like not shut down, but like kind of gets like pulls himself away from the situation.
He'll pull himself away from and he'll bury himself in. Before it was school, now he's, working, so he'll bury himself in work, or he'll
busy himself. Is that what I mean? He'll busy himself. Okay.
And he can busy himself, and now he's got a girlfriend, a great young lady, and now he'll go with her and spend all of his time with her, and that's his comfort zone. He's older, and he's found the love of his life, for the moment in his life, and hopefully it's forever. But that's his comfort zone. So he's got that, and
Okay.
To be honest with you, I hate to say it, he hasn't come to me like I'd like him to discuss it, and I'm not going to push it. He'll come to me when he's ready or feels more comfortable. But I always let him know, I'm proud of you, son, and I'm here for you. And I think that's the thing that us older men, we don't go and tell our friends, hey, I'm proud of you. We should, if they accomplish something, hey, man, I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Hey, good shit, man. Like, that was fucking awesome.
Have a friend who just bought a truck. It's a used truck, but so what? I told him, hey, man, it's a nice new truck. Oh, it's used. It's got a lot of miles. No, it's new to you.
To you, yeah.
Congratulations, man. I'm proud of you, bro. This is awesome. I want a truck like that, This motivates me. Thank you. Congratulations, man. And then the smile on his face, that's what you want to see. And I think us as men, we need to be there and just let our boys know, hey, man, I'm here for you. You are good enough. You are loved. And how you doing? A text, just dropping a line, just dropping a text, checking how you doing, man. How's everything going? You never know when that text saves a life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even a moment, right? Like, I think it's great to go drastic, right? Because that's the truth, right? Like, the reality is it really could save a life, right? But just think about it even saving a moment, right? Like, in that moment, he may not be thinking of committing suicide, right? But in that moment, like, his fucking world might be crumbling around him, right? And in that moment, receiving that text message, feeling like somebody is there, right, could make a huge difference, even if it's for that moment.
Yeah. I mean, you never know.
Speaking of difference, right? With your son, right? I have a son too, right? And so I guess that's why for me this is a hot topic, right? Like, but with your son, what is something that? Because at least what I heard you say was your son, at least from your perspective, right? And Andrew, right? And Andrew, if you're listening to this, right? I get that this is just from your pops' perspective, right? But like from your perspective, you believe that your son doesn't come to you as much as you would like, right? That he doesn't open up to you as much as you may want him to, because as a man, because he is a man now, right? He's managing life. He's managing a relationship. He's managing work. He's managing friendships. He's managing so many things that if he just reached out for someone, in this case, that someone is you, that you would be there for him and that you would want that from him, right? With that said, what is one thing that you believe Andrew doesn't quite understand about you, right? Or quite see for himself that you believe may hold him back from reaching out, that you believe may hold him back from being vulnerable the way that you would like him to?
I think I think my buddy sees it as that's my dad. You know, he's gonna be mad. He's gonna be disappointed. You know, I think the mad part is the key emotion that he's most concerned about, followed by a close second place, disappointment. When those are the two furthest things that I want him to feel about my reaction to him coming to me. And when he recently came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, you know, like I wanna take a little break from school and I wanna work a little more, and then I'm gonna go back to school." It's just this last semester really burned me out, really stressed me out. He was afraid to tell me, and actually went to Nicole and spoke with her first, and she told him the same thing. "We're proud of you. We got your back. Don't ever worry about judgment from us. Especially your dad. He's going to be there for you. Your dad loves you." And he knows, all my kids know that I love them unconditionally. But I think what they fail to grasp, because I'm their dad, is I also want to be their best friend. I'll be a best friend with boundaries, you know, like we're not going to go out and get drunk together. Or, you know, we're not going to do stupid things that you do with friends and laugh about in the future. But I want to be your best friend where you feel comfortable. "Hey, Dad, I had a fight." And I'm just speaking on my son's, my relationship with my son. "Hey, Dad, I had a fight with my girlfriend, and you know, what do I do?" Or, you know, "I said this and I feel like I shouldn't have said it," or "How do I recover? What do I do?" And I want to speak to him from life experience. We don't have that yet. And I think it's because he's afraid still. Grew up without me in his life for 6 years. But we're off and on for 6 years. But 22 years old, and he'll come jump on the couch next to me and put his head on my shoulder and shit. Like, I never want that bond to be gone. Never. I want it to get stronger. And the only way I see it can get stronger is through conversations that we have with each other, time that we spend together. You know, and I get it. They're all busy. They all have their lives, you know. But eventually they'll see that, man, I got to build this relationship with my dad, you know, and as well as Nicole. Like, you know, just they have a great relationship. You know, Andrew, Adrian, Samantha, Delilah. We all have great relationships in our own ways. Right now, like with Delilah, it's bumping heads with Dad, 17 years old, you know. But I know that a time will pass. You know, when it comes down to it, I know we love each other without judgment, you know. But going back to my son, yeah, I just think that I think it's out of fear. He's not there yet, and the only way I can get him to get there is not by pushing him, is by reminding him, "I'm here for you. I'm proud of you. I'll never judge you. I'm here to listen. I can talk to you based from experience. I don't have all the answers. You know, maybe I don't have any answers. I just have my view." And just try and get him to be comfortable with that.
Is there a moment, right? And this could be years back, right? Because at least what I'm hearing is your son is coming around, right? That the whole school thing, right? Like putting school off for a semester, being vulnerable enough to tell you he was burnt out, and that he was about to make a decision that most parents probably wouldn't align with, right? Like, what do you mean you're going to leave school? Like, no, like then you're going to become lazy, and then you're not going to want to go back, and blah 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 blah. And that's why a lot of these kids are afraid to tell us, right? Like I'm part of that,
right?
That. So one, I do hear that he is coming around, which is great, right? Is there an incident, whether with Andrew or any of your other kids, the most recent, right, or any incident that you remember where you reacted? Right? Like whether it was out of that trauma, whether it was out of whatever, but they came and they told you something, they communicated something, and you reacted in a way that would validate their story of, "Oh, see, that's why I don't tell my dad anything, because he gets mad."
All the time. I let my emotions get the best of me. And it comes from triggers, you know, growing up. And it all of parenting, in my opinion, all relates to your mental health status. Whether if you have like shadows in your past that you haven't coped with, You know, again, you can't cure them, but you can cope with them and work with them. And all of my reactions are based off my emotions, which 10 times out of 10, when you react from emotion, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to fail.
And you still do that today, is what you're like, with your
I'm
kids.
Guilty of it.
And
I'm an
that.
emotional person.
Yeah.
My kids hearing that will probably laugh and be nodding their heads like, yeah,
that's dad. Yeah,
that's dad.
That's why I don't tell him shit.
He's a drama king.
That's why I don't fucking tell him shit, because I tried last week.
Dad's gonna lose his shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'm guilty of it, but I use that but lightly. Again, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm the king of my castle. Like, you know, not sounding machismo or anything, but when I say that, it means I'm the protector of my family. And when I react, it's from a protector standpoint. They said what? They did what? You're doing what? Like, what happened? Like, it's just, and I tell my kids this all the time, is stop, take a few seconds, think about what you're going to say, and then say it. Man, if I did that, I'd be the best dad in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not the only one that doesn't do that. We react.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
We react.
All the time.
You know? And, you know, it's just, I'm guilty of it. And, yeah, it does, especially my girls. That's why I can't tell dad. Don't tell dad. You know, I'm telling you, don't tell dad. Or don't tell dad. Like, what they don't know is dad's going to find out anyway. You know? But, yeah, I'm guilty of that.
And when dad finds out, right? When dad finds out.
I got to keep it to myself.
And when, or when they tell dad directly, right? Like, what do you want them to know? Right? Like, in that moment, you will react, right? You already said that. Like, not for sure, right? But it's a common thing right now where you'll react, right? But even in that reaction, something you can't tell them in that moment because you're in a reaction. Something you haven't told them in that moment because you're in a reaction is what?
Is, you know, something that, like, it's happened a couple of times, and I won't go into detail, but, you know, I've told my girls, like, okay, you fucked up. Now, how do we prevent from you fucking up like this again? What course can we take now that this doesn't happen again? Because where you fucked up put other people in a position that could have been impacted by your fuck up. This could have happened. I could have reacted, and I could have been killed or put in jail or got hurt, or, you know, or, you know, you could have been, man, I don't know how I would deal with that, but you could have been killed or put in jail or hurt. And now all of us are left to cope with that. Like, let's think about that before, if we're ever in that predicament again, let's think about those things before we react. And again, it's easy for you and I as dads to coach that and preach that, but when we're out with the boys, you know, we know it's hard to do it, so we just react.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that comes up for me as you're saying that, right, like, just if I was putting myself in a 17-year-old boy, right, I think for me, one of the things that comes up and is like, I don't need your protection, right? Like, yeah. And why are you worried about everybody else? Mm-hmm. Right? Like what does everybody else have to, like, I get what you're saying. It impacts everybody, right? But, like, we're all dealing with shit, right? And this is just what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Right? Just like when everybody else deals with their shit, it impacts me too.
Yeah. 17, 18, 19, mm-hmm. You know, we knew it all. When in reality, we didn't know shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 39. I still don't know shit. Right. Like,
I'm learning every day, you know, and still at being 51 and, you know, being called old man or OG or, you know, like I used to be offended by those, you know, but now I embrace them because I do have some life experience, but I'm still learning. And yeah, trying to talk to someone that age. I have nephews that are that age that I try and talk to, and they smirk and shake it off. And man, it irks me, but I have to let it go. You know, at some point we have to let them learn.
Yeah.
You know, and just be there to pick them up, dust them off, you know, carry on.
And that's the part that, like, at least for me, right? Because I grew up with a baby boomer dad, obviously, right? And my dad, like, fortunately, right, I'm very blessed. I think I only got beat, like, maybe twice, right? Like, max in my life. right? So I fortunately didn't have any abusive parents, but my parents were like, if something would happen, like, hey, cabron, or no, like they'd always be like telling me, like I'd always be on edge because it's like if I did anything, like they'd be, they'd be on me. So I definitely get like that traumatic experience of not being able to like do anything, right? Feeling like you're always going to be judged or you're always going to be wrong, right? But there's one thing a little while ago that you said. You said, I'm the one tasked with being my family's protector, right? I was having a conversation with somebody before doing this episode, letting them, like I was sharing with them that we were going to have this talk. And it's interesting that you said that, because one of the things that came up for me was, no wonder we can't show weakness, right? Like I feel like as men, right? Like as men, like we are inherently tasked with this protector role, right? Like that's how we grew up, right? Like that's how I was raised with my dad. That's how we've been raised in stories, right? Of our ancestors and everything, that like the men were the protectors, the men were the providers, right? And at some point, I feel like if we show weakness, right? If we're vulnerable, right? If we say we're having anxiety and depression and a lot of these mental health things that we hold inside, it's because the way that you just said right now, what we do impacts everybody, right? How safe is my family gonna feel if dad's a fucking wreck, right? Like how secure is my wife gonna feel if husband is so sensitive, right? He's just so sensitive he doesn't trust, he's jealous, he's this, he's reactive, like he's a fucking mess, right? And so how am I supposed to feel safe?
And
right?
it's the way this is rolling. Like I was gonna go back to that, the whole king of the castle, protector of the family, and then you brought this up, a discussion you had with one of your friends before our meetup today. Those are the barriers to getting help. Mm-hmm. That's why men don't get help. The fear of weakness, pride. I'll handle it myself. Traumatic past experiences, not knowing how to explain what we're feeling, what we're going through without sounding weak, without our armor, quote unquote, being damaged, and it's what haunts us. That's what leads us to bottling up and suppressing those emotions and those feelings and not seeking help or talking to our significant other, because we don't want our wives to think like, my husband's weak, I'm going to go find another man who's stronger. Or we don't want to tell our kids who think, oh, dad's weak, who's going to protect us? Mm-hmm. Or, we don't want to talk to our brothers because, oh, my brother's a pussy, I can't talk to him. Like, and now they're suffering something, and they're using us as their excuse not to open up, and those things lead by suppressing to like a plethora of negativity, anger issues, again, like I said, like cheating, isolating ourselves, whether it be being alone, or you can even isolate yourself by surrounding yourself with people who mean nothing, like just go into a crowded bar and just drink. You're isolating yourself. Yes, isolation doesn't mean being alone. It's just being alone in your mind, like, yes, there's 20 people in this bar, but I'm here alone. I'm not here to talk to anybody, just me and my drink, which alcoholism, addictions, drugs, porn, fighting, just different addictions that are out there, it just snowballs. The effect just snowballs. And it's like you said, because it's the fear of being weak. It can lead to, like we just discussed, depression, anxiety. Stress is a silent killer. I'm type 2 diabetic. I go to the gym 5 days out of the week. I try and eat the best I can. I do, intermittent fasting. I take my medications. I try and cut processed carbs, processed sugars, and I'm still waking up sometimes with the fasting glucose of 300. Insane. When you should be at 96, 100. There's some days, and it's stress.
Mm.
The cortisol. It's just going to kill you, and it leads to men getting type 2 diabetes, having strokes, having, Bell's palsy, all these things that we can suffer from, that now you have Bell's palsy and half of your face is paralyzed and you're embarrassed to go out in public. And now how's that going to impact? That's what I mean by the snowball. We just got to take care of ourselves. We feel burnt out. We want to just be alone. We don't know who we are. Are we the man of the house? Are we the bitch because we feel emotions? Absolutely not. You're a man because you're starting to identify the things that cause your irritability, that cause your stress, that cause you to have a short fuse or be numb to emotion. Like that's one thing that I did go and experience myself. Like before I met Nicole, I was numb to emotion. I was not afraid to die. I said, I'm not afraid of death. I'm really not. Because when I die, I'm not going to know I'm dead. That was my answer.
So I do have a question around that. You're saying that. When did the switch happen, right? Because I remember at first what you were telling me when you were a kid is you were afraid, right? You would do a lot out of being afraid, right? At what point did it go from being afraid to no longer being afraid?
You're speaking like when I just said like not being afraid to die
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I think when I lost contact with my kids. That was my kids are my world, and when I lost contact with my kids, my first three, it was just that was the end of the world. Fuck it, I don't care about anything. And then I think realizing that my relationship with my mom was not going to be repaired, and my dad that was a lost cause. I just felt like what's there to who cares? Not thinking about my grandma, not thinking about my three kids that are out there, not thinking I was selfish. And that's what I mean. Like you go into not thinking about the repercussions that others would suffer if something happened to you. We get selfish. We get numb to emotions. We get numb to who cares, And yeah, I think it went for a good 3 years. There was times where I would just drink and drink and drink until I was just numb, and smoke cigarettes and just be horrible, and yeah, I don't know. It wasn't until later on after I met Nicole. She is like the glue that brought my kids back into the picture, helped me fight to get them to come back to me, more often. Showed me that, don't give up. Like, keep going. It's going to be hard, but keep going. And I'm sure there was times she was like, F this, but she just kept fighting. And me saying, like, I'm the king of my castle, like, what us men don't realize is that for those of us that are married or have someone that we love dearly as a partner, they're our queen. They're holding it down. Yeah, we're up there pumping our chest and, blah, blah, blah. But, on our side, I won't even say in the back, on our side is someone who's ready to ride, And that's important for men to know, to realize when it comes to mental health. If you don't feel comfortable talking to a brother or a friend or that it's another male, try talking to your significant other. You never know. But we fear, men, that's the problem. It's the fear of judgment. Mm-hmm. We're not afraid of the emotions. We're not afraid of having emotions. Like, damn, I feel sad. We're thinking it, no one knows. We're thinking it to ourselves. What we're afraid is being open and being judged. But, you just have to find, and who can you be more comfortable with than your significant other? They know everything else about you, for the most part, but yeah, that's when it started to happen. I just had no fear, and it was bad. It was false, because in reality, nobody wants to die.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I mean, just and like I said, it can lead to the weakness of it causes of carrying these emotions and locking them away, and they build and they build and they build. Rage, you blow up. You start getting these bad habits. Like I said, drinking, drugs, gambling, porn. Fighting. It leads to all these bad things. And there's other options. The way I dealt with it with my I won't go into detail, but I had a traumatic experience a few years ago that lasted about 2 years, and I felt alone, and I was drinking heavy. I mean, the night that I decided to stop drinking, I had 11 old fashions. There's 2 shots of whiskey in every old fashioned. So it's a lot of whiskey. And the only way I made it home, mind you, 40 miles away from home, was because I had a Tesla and autopilot. And I'm not proud of it. I could have hurt somebody, could have hurt myself, but selfishness, those are all the signs of mental health challenges. And when I got home, it was my daughter Adrian who told me, "Dad, I need you to stop drinking." And I said, "Okay." And I went on a sober ride for a little over 3 years. So I just dealt with it with alcohol. That was my experience. And the way I came out of it, when I decided, I had some slip-ups after saying, "Okay, I'm done." There was some slip-ups here and there. No nights where I just went on a rager or anything like that. It was just slip-ups, And, I started going to the gym, started, getting closer to Christ, started doing therapy. I started, just at different exercises, mental exercises, like shadow work, they call it. And it means the shadows in your past,
You work on the dark parts of you.
Work on the dark points and bring closure to them. Learning to identify triggers. One of the things that I did that helped me also was complete stranger. Like you go to the store, the market, and it's a guy thing, I guess. You stare somebody down, or give a dirty look. Me and my past would return the dirty look, or even be like a nod and be like, "What's up?" Which is not a good starter.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I started to walk around, I won't say smiling like a dork, but have a little smile and say, "Hey, good morning, man. Good morning, brother. How you doing?" Just change it up. And that helped. And I noticed how many more people, like, here's a perfect example of that, how that could impact a total stranger is, we were in the restaurant business, and I went to Restaurant Depot to get some supplies, and there was a guy that worked in the huge refrigeration, where they keep the meats at Restaurant Depot and stuff. And he had pallets of meat that he was breaking down and slamming boxes. He was having a bad morning. You can sense it. And I asked him a question. He didn't even look at me. He just pointed. It's like, "It's over there, man. Like, I don't know." And I said, "All right, thank you, brother. You have a blessed day. God bless." And he stopped and he said, "Hey," he's like, "I'm sorry, bro. Like, thank you. I needed that. God bless." Where the old me would have been like, "F you, bro. Like, so what's your problem? It's not my fault you work here."
Yeah.
Like, but that changing it up, that helped. Changing my approach to things helped. It didn't make me soft. It didn't make me, there's a good saying, a great saying that I heard from a pastor that says, "I'm saved, I'm not soft." It doesn't mean that because you're a believer or because you feel like you want to better yourself, that you're a punk or a chump. To me, you're more of a man by taking those steps and bettering yourself and doing these things than going that route. So yeah, those are some of the things that I did, and like I said, it's not about stopping the emotions or the feelings. It's about processing them, and learning to identify your triggers or coping mechanisms. Count to 10, before you react, or someone says something to you that you don't like. Take 3 seconds, take a deep breath and just give a reply. You'd be astonished how much of a difference 3 seconds makes in your reply to things or your reaction to things. I still, like I said, I'm guilty of it. I'll act off emotion. I'm an emotional guy. My kids will be the first one to agree to that. So
one of my last few questions for you is, what got you here, right? Like, you and I have, you've told me a couple of times, right, that you would like to have this conversation, right? That you would like to whether it's on the podcast or whether it's over lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this is a conversation that for you was important, right? Like, what happened or what accumulated over time that had you get to this point, that had you get to the point where you're like, dude, like, I want to talk about this. Like, this is important to me. I want to get on a journey of making an impact for people for men when it comes to mental health.
So it's been a journey, from childhood. Like I broke it down earlier, my mom and dad, and my adolescent years, and being shot, and the people I surrounded myself with, to being a business owner and a chef, and being impacted by negative experience. I don't even go into detail on those things anymore because they're not important. It's in the past. They call it the past for a reason. It's past us. There's no significance to it in my future. So I don't even discuss it anymore. It was negative and I learned from it. Let's move on. People were lost during that time, but, God removes people from your life for a reason. All those things leading up to now has brought me where I'm at now, but most importantly were the thoughts of suicide. Ending it all because it's just easier. That brought me to the point where I knew it was time to open up. I sat there with a loaded gun in my hand, whiskey, and ready to pull the trigger. And the one thing that stopped me, and I'm not trying to be melodramatic or anything about it, is I heard my kids and my wife cry. They weren't there. They weren't in the house. They weren't nowhere near me, but I heard it. And that was God telling me, like, that was my grandma sending a message, no, this is not the way. You're not going to come with us if you do this. And it's the ultimate sin, but there's another way. And that other way is opening up and speaking to all the men out there, to the man across the table from me. Don't be afraid to open up. At Cuts by Chefe, cutsbychefe@gmail.com. Like, you can reach out to me. I don't need to know you. I'd love to start, I told you this before, I'd love to start a group where men can meet once a week, and, we can meet at a cigar shop, or we can meet, I'm sure you'd be willing to, not put you on the place, but you said it, I'll open the barbershop. We can talk in the barbershop, and just men, letting it out. If someone wants to cry that meeting, fuck it, cry. We ain't going to point and laugh. Not going to judge.
We ain't posting it on social media.
It's not going to be on social media. We're not, nothing. We're not going to talk about it outside those doors. But I want to put myself out there, and you've mentioned before you'll join me in
absolutely
the journey. Like, if any of you men out there are interested in it, like, a one-on-one, a 2-on-1 conversation with Joe, myself, and whoever else, like, let's do it. It's time for us as men. If we're not afraid, let's stop being afraid.
And I think
Let's
that would
open
have
up.
a huge impact, man. It really would. So anybody who is listening to this, right? If like this is something that resonates with you, if you've thought before, like I wish I could join a men's group, right? Or like I could. This is like your call, right? Like if you watch this video, DM one of us. You don't need to put it on the comments. It doesn't need to be put on blast that this is something that you want to be part of. Although if you don't give a fuck, yeah, put it in the comments, right? Like reach out. But in the either in the caption, right, if this is a clip, or in the YouTube description, I'm going to put all of our information where you guys can reach out to us. Reach out, right? Chefe obviously hasn't started anything yet.
Not yet.
Right? But I'm pretty sure if 1, 2, 3, 4 of us reached out and said, I'm in, right? Like what day of the week, what time, right? First Monday of the month, whatever. Like you would absolutely help us, help Chefe get this set in motion if you just partnered with us, right? Like if you reached out and said that this is something that you would want to be part of.
Absolutely.
And we would love for you to be part of it, right? And not just be part of it, but be a creator of it, right? Like
Yes.
start it with us, right? Have this be something that you start with us, that we start together, right? So please, guys, this is a huge conversation, right? For a lot of men, huge conversation that we just don't have, right? That we just wish we had more interaction with. You have 2 men right here that are not just willing, but are we desire it, right? We desire to get around other men that just want to take the armor off and relax, right? That just want to take the armor off and relax with each other and just be who we are without the fear of judgment about weakness,
Just keep it real.
right? Just keeping it real, right?
Yeah,
So if
and
that's you,
just-
reach out to us.
Yes, please. That's like, and Joe couldn't have put it better. Let's all be a part of the foundation. It's not for clout. It's not for recognition. It's for one another. And before we close out, like I just want to say, like, you are good enough. You are loved. You are important. Whoever you are, those things, you do matter. You do make a difference. Most of us men, we don't talk about how we feel. We were taught to perform, provide, push through it, deal with the pain, and just shut the fuck up about it, and somewhere, along that way, the silence became our facade of strength, and it's not strength. It's a slow leak. The silence is a slow leak. It's a silent killer. The stress it creates, the impact it has. It's like a ninja. It comes in the middle of the night and just it'll take you out. But it can happen anytime, and a lot of men are out there struggling quietly, keeping it to themselves, whether at home, in the car, with friends, hiding it behind a smile, behind their success, behind work, they're hiding it, and it's not about being soft. It's not about, being a bitch. It's not about anything else other than being honest about how you feel. It's about learning to carry those pressures in a way that won't destroy you. Identifying the triggers, identifying what it is that's killing you inside, that's making you the person that you hate. I hate that I want another drink. I hate that I want to get high. I hate that I want to, disrespect my wife and call her out on her name, or beat my kids, or I hate these things, that I cut people off and flip them off hoping to fight with somebody. I hate these things. We don't have to be that. That's the slow leak. That's and when you're hiding it, it's like, I don't know if you remember the cartoon, like Bugs Bunny. You put the bubble gum on the hole in the dam, and eventually, the bubble gum just blew up, and the dam explodes. That's us. I love to speak in metaphors. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all good.
But even if one man listening today, just one, realizes that you're not broken, you're not alone, and you're not weak for needing support or an ear. You're not weak. Then this conversation matters.
Then this conversation made a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
I mean, I think you just answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, right? Because it's one of the things I always like to make sure I'm responsible for asking, which is there anything that you didn't share today? Is there any topic we didn't talk about? Is there anything at all that's there for you that you want to make sure gets shared or gets brought up before we get off the air?
Yes. So a common fault amongst men seeking help is looking for it in a group. Like, can I speak to all my friends, But just find one friend. And one friend is greater than 10 surface friends. And if you don't know what I mean by surface friend, it's just a friend that's it's a shallow relationship, Find that one friend, that one person. And again, it doesn't have to be a man. It could be someone younger than you. Young men suffer from mental health challenges as well as older men. Just open up. And that's the one thing that I do want to share is that don't look for it to be in a group, because then you're going to get lost in the sauce, And yeah, that's about it.
I love it, Chefe. Well, hey, thank you, brother, for having this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
You and I, we've known each other for a really long time, right? We go way back. And so one of the things that I'm about to introduce right now, it means a lot to me that it's going to be you starting it, right? Just because of our journey together, our friendship, and everything we've seen each other go through and the time that we've spent with each other, right? But one of the traditions, right, that eventually I'm going to bring you back on and you're going to get your turn in the way, right? But one of the traditions that I'm going to start beginning with this show is that I'm going to have each guest write a quote, right? Whether it's a quote they created, right, that they want the next person to hear, whether it's their favorite quote, right, or whether it's just a quote that currently is relevant to them and their lives or the time or what's important to them, right? But I'm going to have you write a quote, right? It'll most likely be off camera. And then the next guest, which you have no clue who it is, right? You don't know if it's male, female, right, left, tall, short, right? Like you have no clue, right? But the next person that I bring on the show at the end of the show will read that quote, right?
Awesome.
And then that person will have the opportunity to do the same thing. And then
so we're not sharing the quote right now? Or?
We're not sharing the quote right now. No. The quote won't be heard until my next guest reads it out loud for the first time, right? They won't know what quote they're going to read. It'll just be live, right? At the end, right before closing, I'll bring out the notebook that I have with the quotes. They'll read the quote. We'll go from there. And then at the end of the show, they'll have the opportunity to write theirs. And then it'll just be a tradition that gets moved on from
awesome.
Guest to guest.
That's a great idea. And I'm all for it. So I will say this then, for those of you watching or listening, make sure, not that you need a reason to stay tuned for the next episode, but make sure you listen all the way through or watch all the way through, because this is a badass one.
This is going to be a sick one to start it with. Awesome. Well, Chefe, thank you so much for being with us, brother. And for anybody that was watching, thank you guys so much for being with us. Not saying that this show is anything, but this show, any podcast, anything is nothing without its audience. And so for any audience that's out there, whether it's one person watching, two people, or anybody watching, thank you so much for choosing to take time out of your day to listen to this show, to listen to us. It means a lot, right? One of the things that is huge for any YouTube channel, for any podcast, is that you subscribe or you follow or you comment, right? That's the one free thing that you guys can do to anybody that provides you value, right? If you watch an influencer, if you watch a podcast, if you watch anything or anybody that you follow, one of the biggest things that you can do for that person is follow, comment, and subscribe, and it's free, right? So if I can request that you guys do that now, that would be phenomenal, because like I said, that's the one free thing you can do to help us out. Other than that, guys, as always, stay blessed, smile every chance you get, and we love y'all. Peace.